What's going on, Tar Pit crew? Welcome back to the latest edition of the Playbook from the Tar Pit. I got my guy Trevor back with me tonight. We're excited to be here talking Heels versus Syracuse tomorrow night, 7:30, Halloween Heels, Trev, going up against Syracuse at the JMA Wireless Dome in Syracuse, New York. Catch it on ESPN. A little later game. Carolina sitting at 2-5, currently 0-3 in the ACC, and Syracuse 3-5, 1-4 in the ACC. Both teams currently on a 4-game skid. I think both of these teams match up pretty well, man, given the current state of each program going into this one. But Trev, jump in here, bro. How we feeling tonight? Big game tomorrow.
I know, bro.
A game I think Carolina's got a good chance to win, and one that I'm thinking we can come away with a W in. Let me know how you feel, bro.
I completely agree with you, and it's I will say honestly, I put a bet in and had us winning last second, but my heart was still like I'm not sure. I think so, but I'm not sure. But I feel good about us this week, man. I do. I think it's going to be a test, though. We've got two good performances. I was watching you. I hate I missed it last night. I had FOMO. Yeah. I was watching, missing out, but I know you said that you're looking to see, can they build off of that, right? We've seen 2 good weeks. Can they continue to do that? And I'm on the same boat, but I think they can, man. They showed enough to me. Syracuse has not looked good at all the past few weeks. We're one program's going up. It seems like they're going down. So we'll see. I know they got a good coach, and you've been a big fan of his for a while, so it'll be fun to watch. But I'm with you, man. I've got hope, and I feel good about this one. So hopefully they don't let us down.
Yeah, man, it was you talk about last night. It was good to have Zach on with us from the Daily Orange. Guys, if you're in here, first of all, we want to thank you for tuning in with us here at just a little after 8:00. We see you guys piling in here to the stream wherever you're watching us, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you're catching us from. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate you tuning in. If you could give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe, a share. If you have a friend that pulls for the Tar Heels, be sure to share this stream with them and have them tune in tonight as well. We'd really appreciate it. And if you missed our episode last night with Zach Wolf of the Daily Orange, be sure to go check it out on YouTube as well. I believe if you scroll through our Twitter profile, you can find the live as well in a recent post. But it's super awesome guy to have on the show, man. Very, very knowledgeable of all things Syracuse. He covers them pretty well for that paper up there with the school. He's a senior at Syracuse, super good dude, has a good head on his shoulders, and looks to be going down the right path. But we just appreciate you all tuning in tonight. Means a lot to us. Big game for Carolina this week, Trev. And I guess let's go ahead and hop into it and kind of break this thing down. But I want to start on the offensive side of the football. Two weeks in a row, Carolina has came up essentially a yard short with a chance to win with the offense on the field against Cal. We all know Nathan Leacock came up a yard short with a fumble in the end zone recovered by Cal. I hate to open and old wounds, and then last week with Ben Hall against Virginia. But looking at both of those games, you look at what the offense was able to do, 2 completely different showings than what we had seen leading up to that game. There was some fluidity with it. I think last week we put up the most passing yards in a single game that we've had in a while.
You were right about that. I was like, no, that doesn't seem. That's how crazy it's been, bro. 212. I was like, there's no shot, but it's been that bad to be real with you.
Well, man, and I honestly feel like we're starting to see the playbook open up a little bit. There's been talks of Gio finally being at full health or at least comfortable enough to where he can go out there and make some of the plays that he wasn't able to earlier on in the season. And you're starting to see that a little bit more. But what I'm looking for more specifically on the offensive side of the football in this game is doing the little things needed to win the game. Protecting the football, number one, being the number one priority. Last week, I think we turned it over 3 times in the red zone. And we just didn't convert. Probably left a lot of points out there on the field. So being able to not shoot yourself in the foot as often as we've seemed to do here the last couple of weeks, and really just building off of what we've done. I'm anxious to see also who steps up. It seems to be a different guy every week, Trev, and I want to kind of touch base with you a little bit on that. Get in here, let us know what you're thinking about on the offensive side of football.
Yeah, and I want to bring these. How about them jerseys, man? We finally, there was a lot of talk on Twitter, right? It was will we do something different? It's been the same old, going with the old school look, but we actually threw it back and hey, Halloween, man, those things are going to look good with that orange.
Yeah, they are.
That's going to look good on the field. So I'm glad they switched it up a little, and hopefully we can watch a win. But on the offensive side of the ball, man, like I told you, I couldn't believe that we had got to the point where 212 yards was the most we had done. And, and he had 172 in one half last week. So, like, that gives me hope too. Like, we saw that it can be done if it's done right, right? He can do it. He did it at a good pace. I mean, the points didn't show. Obviously, we had some turnovers there that took away points, but it was refreshing to see. And going into this matchup, I heard this earlier. So obviously we haven't scored over 20 against an FBS school this year. Well, Syracuse hasn't allowed less than 20 all year. So something's got to break here. We either got to go over, or they're gonna allow less than 20. So that's gonna be something fun to watch. But I as the week goes on, man, I mentioned this the one time that I was on Benjamin Hall scoring the touchdown, and it was because they had him at the press conference. I was like, well, he's probably gonna go off. Well, if you notice, one of the guys that was there this week was Gio.
Yep.
So I feel like Gio's building off of. He's playing better. We've heard the talk that he's finally fully healthy, and I think he comes out this week and has his best game he's had all year, to build off of last week. I think that this is a game when you were awesome with pulling the numbers, man. This is a Syracuse defense that they will blitz a lot. They'll try to put pressure, but they haven't been good.
Yeah.
And
Not
hopefully
very successful.
if we can take care of the football, do our job. I'm still, my mind's blown that Syracuse is favorites in this game, but I guess, it's because of they don't have the hope that we have, but it's going to be fun to watch.
Syracuse, man, during this 4-game losing skid that they're on, has given up 140 points. And with Syracuse's defense, man, they're kind of anchored by, Gary Bryant and Antoine Delorier. Both of them are 1A and 1B, or number 1 and number 2, respectively, in tackles so far in the season. And then you get guys like Chris Peel in their secondary. Zach really alluded and shined a light on what they've got on that defensive side of the football. And it's a defense, man, that they can be stingy at times. But I'm looking, to see, last week, Madrid Tucker had a huge game, led the team in receptions with 8 catches. And just really had a coming out party, I guess you could say, and got Ship more involved. Kobe got involved early. I know he had that fumble down there at the goal line, which was mind-boggling at the time because they weren't even really reviewing that. They were reviewing whether he was out before the ball crossed the plane or hit the pylon, and they ended up ruling it a fumble. But I'm looking to see who's it going to be this week. Is it going to be one of the running backs? I know we saw Davion turn out some pretty good production last week for us from the running back. Ben Hall's obviously been getting a lot more involved in the offense at the running back position as well. But I do think at some point, while I do think that establishing a running game, not just in this game, but in each game going forward, is key to Carolina's success. We've also got to make teams respect the pass on us as well. You know what I mean? I'd love to see us get the passing game a little bit more consistent in the passing game. And you can see, Trevor, we've talked about it on previous episodes about the importance of timing between Gio Lopez and guys within that receiver room. We've got a lot of return and production. We're also seeing young guys step up and get playing time. And Gio mentioned that, I think it was on Monday, about everybody getting opportunities in practice throughout the week to really get themselves on the field. And we're seeing that with guys like Shenard Clower get playing time. Nathan Leacock's been getting consistent snaps. Then you got a guy like Madrid Tucker coming in and going off for 8 catches last week. I just feel we're lacking in the passing game department. And I guess if you want to talk a little bit more about who we need to get involved, what you're looking for in that regard. Because I do think, like I said, while it is important to get a running game going, and we are getting solid production from our 2 guys since Caleb Hood retired, I do think we've got to make teams start respecting the pass. I mean, last week you put up 200 and some yards passing in a game. That's great, but you got to have that deep threat. You've got to beat guys down the field, and we're starting to see it a little bit more, but it's just not consistent enough. Share your thoughts with me on that, bro.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make a bold take here. They've got me back in, Troy. So I remember when we were talking about Clemson, we said we expect Clemson to have a get right game, right? That offense was so good, you expect them to have a get right game. Well, I think we haven't saw it yet at Carolina, what Gio and has been capable of that we saw at South Alabama.
Yep.
We know that the wide receiver room is even deeper than what we thought. We did our wide receiver breakdown and we talked about all those guys up top, but we got freshmen playing now, making plays that we didn't even really go into.
Yep.
That it's way deeper than we thought. So I think this is our get right game, bro. If we do it right on the offensive side of the ball, I mean, you made a good point. You've got to get the ground game going. You got to play complementary football. So if we can have Freddie Kitchens has always been good at those first drives all year, right? He was good at. So I think if we can start fast, get confident, I really think this is the get right game for Gio and for the team on offense. And if we can do that, man, and then build off of the way our defense has been playing, it's going to be fun to watch. But I would like to see us, get Gio going early with whatever, is most comfortable for him, right? We've seen that he's best when he's outside of the pocket. So I'd like to see us go back to that early and establish some play action with the run game and go off of that. I wanted to ask you about this. This is my brain's going here, but you guys were talking to Zach last night. Is Syracuse got a kid that's 17 playing corner? Is that what y'all were talking about? A cornerback?
Yeah. Let me find old buddy because he's an interesting story.
You got cats like that, man. I feel like we've got like Kobe. He should be able to take advantage of a kid like that. I get he may be very talented, but Kobe's got a lot more experience on somebody like that. So I think that we've talked about it, that wide receiver room's the best room on that offensive side that we thought anyway. So I think this could be a game that where we see those wide receivers come alive and Gio have a good game for us. I hope so anyway.
Yeah, I want to say my guy that you're referring to is Demetrius Sanders Jr. Or Demetrius Samuel Jr. Excuse me, I botched old buddy's name, so that's my bad. But he's a guy that and Fran Brown alluded to that in his press conference on Monday as well. That's a young guy that he's a freshman, and they hold him in high regard over there. And he's a guy that kind of went into this year with the ability to play both sides of the football. But after sitting down with the coaching staff, I guess, and figuring out what the team really needed, he decided to lock in just solely on defense. Fran Brown said that he was kind of getting more involved in the offense sparingly in practice, I believe is what he said in his press conference. But he's a guy, man, in that secondary. And you got guys like Georgia transfer Chris Peel that is a solid ACC cornerback. I was telling Zach, man, Chris Peel transfer from Georgia. It just sounds like his name, just based off his name, he would play at Georgia with a name like Chris Peel. But
sounds like he'd be good too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. A good ACC corner. But this Syracuse defense, man, and I went and pulled stats and went and verified like manually through ESPN. Like that's before I put any stat in our notes, I go back and verify and like, dude, you should see me in here. I'll go and look at like total team defense ratings, and I'll scroll to the bottom, and there's 100. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's 136 teams in FBS college
Either
football.
132 or 136 somewhere. Yeah, something like
Right.
that.
So I was going based off of 136. And looking at this Syracuse defense, man, just some rankings for you. Points per game allowed, 31.3, 116th ranked in the country. Passing yards per game, 273, 129th ranked, 14th ranked in the ACC. Rushing yards allowed per game, 162 and a half, 98th ranked in the country, 16th out of 17 ACC teams. And then total yards per game allowed, 436 and a half. That's good for 124th ranked and 17th ranked in the ACC. So you look at Carolina's offense, and from a numbers standpoint, what we're seeing from the offense, while I do think we need to clean up a lot of the little things that have killed us and killed drives and leaving points on the field, we definitely need to clean that up. And there's been a big emphasis, at least there was on Monday when we talked to Gio, and even Bill said it too, about protecting the football, not turning the ball over in the red zone, converting on third down. I know that's something that you've been a big advocate about, and I'm with you, man. In order for us to have success and come away with some of these close wins, not only do you have to do the little things right, but you have to get the X's and O's right too. And you have to have a good, obviously you're not going to convert on third down 100% of the time. If you do, you're more than likely going to win the football game. But, you have to do a better job at that. You have to have an offense that, defenses respect on third down. And a lot of that, hinders on what you do on first and second down. And we've talked about that. I feel like Carolina the last 2 weeks has done a decent job. You saw in that Cal game, they started behind the sticks quite a bit. And then, looking at Virginia, they didn't do as bad starting behind the sticks, just couldn't convert on third down. I don't know if that was really a testament to what Virginia was doing or adjusted to on defense, or if we just, weren't that great. I don't know. Somebody said
Yes.
D1 is 365 schools. Yeah,
Yeah,
power, power,
you're talking
power.
about FBS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
FBS. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Jump in here, bro. I feel like I'm rambling.
Yeah. So no, I mean, like I said, look at the numbers. You did a very good job pulling this. I really think that if we're going to get right and score above 20 points, this is the week that we should see it.
Yeah,
And I hope so, because I do think from what we've saw, if you get better in the red zone too. We've got to get a lot better in the red zone. No turnovers. Instead
yeah,
of 3 points, we need to score 7. And we're
yeah.
right there, dude. We are right there.
We are, man. I
So
don't mean to cut you off, but
yeah.
I was just thinking, CJ, they asked CJ Mims that question this week on Monday, if he felt like, the ball was going to fall in our direction at some point. And he said, most definitely. And I'm with him, man. At some point in time, I was texting my dad during the UVA game. I'm like, the football gods don't hate us. They just hate Bill Belichick. For some reason, they just do. And we're just cursed right now. But I do think a key to getting over that hump and that, those chips falling in our favor is you have to limit the self-inflicted wounds. You know what I mean? With an offense that we've seen as stagnant at times as it is, you've got to be damn near perfect
Yeah.
to escape with a win. I feel like our defense is doing a great job, and we'll touch base on them here in our next segment as we start to wrap up offense. But defense hasn't been the reason why Carolina's ultimately lost these last 2 games. They've continued to play well the last 2 weeks against Cal and Virginia. There's going to be a time where Carolina puts it all together on both sides of the football, and it's going to be a thing of beauty. And us as Carolina fans are going to,
And it's
get
going to
up.
be Halloween, Troy.
I know something spooky
It's going to
going
be
down.
Halloween, Troy.
Something spooky going down. But I do think in order for us to get over that hump, man, we've got to stop shooting ourselves in the foot, especially with
Yeah.
an offense like we've got.
Hey, so I want to mention this real quick before we turn it over to defense. I don't know if you when listen to Gio talk at the presser, he Noah had a question for him, and he said I don't remember what the question was, but he said every Monday Gio and Bill watch film together, just one on one.
Yeah.
I thought
I
that
love
was,
that, dude.
That's
Yep.
awesome, dude. Like that.
Yep.
That's awesome to see. And that's. I was about to ask you who's your one player on offense that you're looking to show or shine this week. And I'm gonna go ahead and answer my own question. But I like I said, I think this is Gio's week, man. I think that Gio has a good game and the best game we've seen him have in a Carolina uniform.
Hey, I would love for it to happen, man. I really, really would. If I had to pick a guy on offense that I think's going to I wouldn't necessarily say have to have a big game for Carolina to win, but definitely that I would look to have one is Ship. I think there were moments in the game against Virginia that you didn't see Ship on the field. You know, I had read somebody going back and forth with us on Twitter. You know, instead of having who was it, Madrid, Tucker, or was it Chenard that was down there on that deep pass in the red zone that Gio
Tucker.
he tipped it. I mean, it was in his hands. You got to
Yep.
make that play. But in that situation, let me ask you this. Would you have rather had a freshman Madrid Tucker? Now, granted, kids got to make the play. You're taught as a receiver, at least I was, at a very young age. If the ball hits your hands, you got a chance to make a play on it. You have to make the play. That doesn't fall on anybody else but the receiver. But in that situation, would you have rather had a freshman Madrid Tucker, or would you have rather had Jordan Ship? Given what we know of his ability as an outside receiver, who would you have rather had in that moment?
1,000% jump ball. I'd rather have Ship. I will say though, I think Tucker was there because it's I guess it would be, you play receiver, a go route. I
Yeah.
think Tucker's a little faster than Ship, even though
Oh,
Ship,
for sure.
I heard him say the other day he hit, I think, 20 miles per hour. And that's the fastest first time he's ever done that. And that was
Yeah.
after squatting that day. So these guys are getting faster and faster. That's the fastest he's ever ran. So I do think jump ball, I won't Ship, but I think on that route there, Tucker was going to beat his guy. I think the ball, it was a little underthrown, probably thrown late.
No,
And
I thought
he still should have caught it though.
I thought it was a decent pass. I mean, he had a good
Yeah,
play.
it was.
It was behind
Yep.
him. It was
Yeah,
behind
that's
him.
one though. You want him to catch over his
Yeah.
shoulders. You
Yeah.
know,
Now,
like
I will say, Connor, I appreciate you jumping in here, buddy. There's a difference there. Jordan Ship doesn't run deep routes. And that was the one. I know there's been a lot of talk about, we'll talk about the Virginia game for a little bit. I know there's been a lot of talk about, the 2-point conversion and whether you go for it or just run with the game and trust your defense. That wasn't really the biggest thing about that game. I think from a situational standpoint, that pass to Madrid at that moment was pivotal. Because if you have a guy yes, I do agree with you. Jordan Ship doesn't run deep routes. And Trevor, you just said it. Madrid's faster. So do you like the speedy guy on the outside that can burn his? We've talked about it. We don't have that guy like a Tez Walker that can just burn a guy on the outside and catch it over his shoulder. So in that given moment, I guess where I'm kind of going with it is if you have Jordan Ship, while he's not a deep ball threat, you don't have to take the home run shot. You can throw it a little bit, not so far downfield, let Jordan make a play on it, get out of bounds or whatever, and rush the field goal unit on and have a closer shot. Trevor, you and I were
I'd be
screaming
real.
that.
I
You
don't
and I
throw it
were
at all. We don't
you
throw that ball at all. If I'm
well,
telling them,
yeah.
do not put it in harm's way, even though it should have been called. It was a good pass. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, we're playing
Yeah.
for the field goal right here.
You and I were screaming that in our seats against UVA. I'm like, okay, if he can get to where Reese was before halftime when he missed, he hit the first kick, and it was good for a little bit, and then Tony Elliott iced him, and then he comes out and misses the.
Yeah. How about that? How about that look?
Yeah.
Shout out to Tony for that. Right.
Yeah, I seen our guy Tommy Ashley. He tweeted out on Twitter during that. He said that's why you don't kick the first kick or whatever. So I
We
thought
need
that
a
was
petition. That's 3 points they didn't give us. He made that kick, man. We should have won that game.
yeah, exactly. I think if the kicker's been in motion, like is already in motion, and say the coach times it just right, like if the ball's already been snapped, the offense deserves to finish the play. I mean,
I
how do
will
you
say
how do you feel about
last year
that?
at Minnesota, remember we iced the Minnesota kicker and then he missed.
That
So
is true.
it could go
We've been
both ways,
beneficiaries. We've been beneficiaries of that.
Yeah.
But let me see, Connor. 32 seconds left. 32 seconds left of the timeout. And we threw a 65-yard pass that we only completed 3 all year. Exactly, dude. Like if you have Jordan Shipp in that moment, you don't necessarily take that deep of a shot. Just get Reese a little bit closer. Trevor's an advocate of not throwing in that situation, which is cool. I was a favor of getting Reese a little bit closer to the to field goal range and letting and putting it in his hands. But nonetheless, they picked it off, went into overtime, and that was it anyways. So Trev, you got anything you want to chime in on the offense, man?
Nothing else. I will say this game will be. I mentioned earlier, Syracuse defense. They like to bring pressure.
Yeah.
Or it's going to a lot of what we do on offense, as it always does. Can our O line hold up?
Yep.
That's going to be a big test. It looks like numbers wise, like I said, this should be a game that we get right in. So I'm excited for it. I've got hope, and we'll see what happens.
That was a very aggressive P on the end of that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, a little something in my throat there, but yeah.
Take you a swig. Take you a swig. Let's look.
No
Connor.
issues with the call.
Yeah, Connor. I would definitely say pass because first down there stops the clock. Very true, buddy. Let's look at this. All I want for Christmas is Gio slowing the game down in his head. This is our week, boy. This is our week. Let's go, boys. Trev, let's talk about the defense a little bit, bro. 2 performances, man, where and we just talked about it a little bit. 2 weeks in a row where the defense puts you in a position to win the game and the offense can't get over the hump. And we've talked in detail about what we think needs to be done in order for us to get over that hump. But this is a Syracuse offense, man, that looked very potent and high powered the first 4 weeks of the season with Steve Angeli. Went to Clemson, pulled off got a good road win, a program win for Syracuse in this Fran Brown era, and was looking promising. Then he gets injured in that game. They still get the win, but that you lose your starting quarterback for, I guess, the year. And then you got a guy you turn to Ricky Collins, who actually got to Syracuse, I guess, before Steve, is what Zach was telling us, and transferred into Syracuse from LSU. They got Steve and battled it out, and Steve was awarded the job and, man, had that offense rolling. But ever since Ricky Collins took over the job, 0-4. And this is an offense, man, that has been stagnant, to say the least, going into this thing. I think they're only averaging 12.5 points during this 4-game losing skid. So, man, I feel like, honestly, on the offensive side, I feel like both of these teams have similar identities. Carolina's obviously, I think, trending a little bit more upward. There's certainly some things that they need to do to get over that hump. But Syracuse, man, their offense is more of at a flatter pace, I guess you could say, than what ours is. But you look at some of the stats that they've got, points per game, they're averaging 25. That's good for 13th in the ACC and 85th overall in the nation. Averaging 398 yards of total offense. That's 10th. That was good for 10th in the ACC, 63rd in the country. 285 passing, 3rd in the ACC, 21st in the country. So very heavy passing team. 112 on the ground, 13th in the ACC, 117th in the country. And then they're good for 3rd in receiving yards per game and 21st in the country in receiving yards per game. So an offense, man, that comes in with a lot of question marks. You look at the stats and you look at some of these guys that they've got, and we'll rattle through some names here in a little bit. But it's a highly productive unit for Syracuse. And I think a lot of their struggles on their offensive side of the football boils down to who they've got at the quarterback position. But talk to us a little bit about what you're looking for from this defense. I'll give you my thoughts after I hear what you got to say.
I mean, just like I said on the offense, a get-right game for the offense. I think this is a game for the defense to continue to do what they've been doing. But this is a game where we should get more turnovers. I was looking here, and since Steve went down with the injury, backup Ricky Collins has thrown more picks than touchdowns. He threw 7 interceptions to 4 touchdowns. There was talk that I believe Fran at his presser on a radio show said that he expects to play both quarterbacks, and the other quarterback that all the Syracuse fans are wanting to play is a true freshman. So this, if we can continue to do what we're doing, this should be a game where their O-line struggles. Syracuse is struggling on the O-line, which is one of the reasons why their offense hasn't been good. They can't establish the run. This is a game that I really, this is why I feel good about it. I think that we should. Connor had a good point here. He took the under on Syracuse rushing yards. I mean, look what we did to a Virginia offense that has one of the, in that ACC and in the country, one of the best rushing going into that game, one of the best rushing offenses in the country.
Yeah.
So it all on paper, man. I was, when we did our schedule predictions, obviously none of us are, I don't think, still has a chance to get close to the records we predicted now. I know I don't for sure, but I remember, I think all of us had this Syracuse game as a loss, and it was because we were like going to Syracuse, Halloween, it just doesn't.
Syracuse to be pretty decent.
Yeah, and well, that's completely flipped for me. I think that this game's coming at a perfect time for North Carolina, based off what we've saw, where Syracuse is trending, where we're trending, where Syracuse struggles at, where we're best at. This is a game that we should take control over, and I think that our guys are confident on that D line, and I think that they can build off of these past few weeks. I will say I saw the injury report came out. Thad's out again.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to see Thad on. They have a receiver that I think Jonte Cook transferred from Texas. Yep. I would have loved to seen him and Thad, because at one time Cook was actually committed to Washington during the spring. So he's a transfer technically from Washington. He just never played there, and ended up at Syracuse. So it'll be interesting to see, but I do think that this is a game that we could see some turnovers, actually. I mean, we had one last week. We forced another fumble, but Virginia recovered it. And then Andrew Simpson was very close to a pick six. It went right through he barely missed another. So we'll see what happens. I like Joel here. He said we would either go 5-7 or 11-1. Hey, let's go 7-5. How about 7-5?
Hey, I'd love it, man. Get on a little roll, win a bowl game.
Right.
Man, defensive wise for me, I think it's really building off of what you've done the last 2 weeks. You've looked solid. You're getting a consistent pass rush. Your defensive line is doing a great job at not allowing yards after the first level. They're doing a great job at rallying to the football, and it's a secondary, man, that and Chris knows it too. Everybody that tunes into our stuff knows I've been critical of the secondary, and they've showed up to play the last 2 weeks. I do think I'm with you. I do think with Collins throwing 8 picks in 4 games, I do think that this is a game where, with Carolina's aggressive approach on defense, and they're trying to force as many turnovers as they can. This is a defense the last 2 weeks that's played seemingly, it's looked like, with their hair on fire, like they've got something to prove. And I've loved it. I've loved to see it. I've loved to see it. It's been fun to know, and you can see and you can tell listening to Will Hardy's press conference and even CJ Mims, that defensive side of the football is locked in on doing everything that they can to win, to put the team in positions to win football games. Now the offense has to carry their weight. I think we'll start to see that as these games go, as we start to work through the back end of the schedule. But this is a defense, man, that from what we've seen and from what we've heard, but also what we've seen, there's one thing to say it, and then there's another thing to go out there and do it. And for a long time, I've criticized Carolina's defense for talking the talk but not being able to walk the walk. And I think with this defense, you're starting to see a cohesiveness being formed. Will Hardy talked about it, of guys doing their job, not making the play that doesn't need to be made or that's not yours to make. Trusting your teammates and the guys that you've got behind you, and they've talked about it. He talked about it specifically with the defensive line, of them staying true to, being gap discipline and not trying to do too much and make the play that's not theirs to make, trusting the guys that they've got beside them. And in the secondary, doing your assignment, being in the zone that you need to be in coverage. If it's man, doing what you need to do on your side of the field and following your guys. So it's a defense, man, that I'm happy that they've done what they've done the last 2 weeks, but now I'm in the mindset where it's like, okay, you guys have played with your hair on fire, and all credit to this guy. I'll bring him on stage. What, 3 sacks last game against Virginia? We talked about it. There's a reel that we've got out. There's a reel that we've got out on Twitter, and you and I talked about the production that we've got from Melcart, especially with Price not working out like we've all anticipated or we all hoped that he would. What you're seeing from Melcart is I don't know how I'm off stage right now. There I am.
I got you.
We're good. We're good.
It gets a little crazy without Chris. It gets a little wild sometimes.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Hey, and for everybody that's tuned in, number one, we appreciate you. And number two, I've been instructed by the man himself, Mr. Chris Smith, to let you know he will be back. And he is looking forward to it. And we're looking forward to having the whole crew back together and on screen. So don't worry. Our guy Chris will make an appearance here soon. So but no, man, I'm looking forward to this defense just doing building off of what they've done the last 2 weeks. Now it's like you're starting to get an expectation built, right? And
there's
with
blood in the water. There's shark. Go eat, right?
Exactly, man. I if they can stay on their P's and Q's and do what they've done the last 2 weeks, I have no problems with or no doubt that Carolina can come away with the win. It really, for me, when it all boils down to it, and we'll get into our final thoughts here in just a second, it really all boils down to the offense and that. Now, defense, if we can play good complementary football this game, and like you said, Trev, maybe this is a get-right game for Carolina. Maybe this is a game where they come out and they play good complementary football. And you start to see that confidence and doing those little things right, and you start to see the hard work pay off of just a little bit more. And wouldn't it be something, man, for us to go up to Syracuse, get a win, come back with the confidence on us. We got the 4:30 kick next week against Stanford, and then you go on the road to Wake Forest. We've got an opportunity.
Let's finish strong, man. One game at a time, though.
One game at a time. I'm not trying to look ahead to it, but I'm just trying to instill some hope within the fan base, man. This is a time. This is a big game for Carolina, man. This is a trajectory swinging win or loss, I think, at this point in time. And I will say this. The guys have done a great job of blocking out the noise and just going out there and keeping the main thing, and just playing football. They've talked about that in depth here the last week or so. Jordan Shipp said it right after the Virginia game, like, we're locked in. I wish we could go play Syracuse right now. So it's a team, man, that you're starting to see really bond together and starting to see, each other each of them get more comfortable with each other. And is the offense trailing a little bit more than the defense at this given moment? Yes, but I have faith that they'll get it right and they'll get on the same page. And I think, man, once we see this team put together, and all firing on all 4 cylinders on both sides of the football, I think it's going to be fun to watch, bro. I really, really do.
I agree with you, man. I'm happy. How long's it been since we felt like we had a defense that could get a stop?
Exactly.
So many times over the past few years, we're like, oh, they're going to let them score. There's too much time left. Now I'm like, I think they're going to stop, so the past 2 weeks anyway. Hopefully we can build off of that. I want to ask you, on the defensive side of the ball, who's your one guy on there on that side of the ball that you expect to have a big game?
The one guy I'm looking to have a big game is Caleb Cost. I've liked what I've seen from Caleb, and I know that's probably a guy that you probably weren't thinking about, but that's a guy, man, that I've paid close attention to. It seems like he's been flying all over the field the last 2 weeks, and he's letting you hear it too on the field. So I'm looking for Caleb to I'll make a bold take. All right, Carolina's going to have a pick. They may have more than one, and if they do, Caleb Cost is going to get one of them.
I like it.
Caleb Cost is getting it. Caleb, if we get one, I think Caleb would get it, but if we have more than one, which would be awesome, I think Caleb's going to get one of them.
I like it. I'm gonna go. I thought you were gonna go Melcart. So
I'll save that one for you.
No, I'm going to go for the guy opposite of him that has been playing very good ball and has stepped up when his chances have been given, and that's Tyler Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
I think Melcart's going to is taking a lot of attention on that side, opening up a lot, and I think Tyler is going to have a good game for us and have at least one sack, maybe two. I hope, but I'm going to say he'll have a good game for us.
One thing about Tyler, I'll make mention of this, and then we can wrap this thing up for our final thoughts. One thing about Tyler that I noticed against UVA, I think it was UVA had the ball down at the other end of the field where we were sitting at that game, down at the like almost at the 50. He dropped back in coverage, man. I found that odd. I mean, he's been doing a heck of a job getting in the backfield, but you see him there in coverage. That's another thing that I think we could see is Tyler. Does Tyler get some tip passes or something? Forced fumble, maybe?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because Bill was talking at the press conference, and he was like the D lineman, and they were talking about Tyler. He was like, "Well, actually, Tyler's more of an outside linebacker." And I'm like, yeah, but he's a rush linebacker. But yeah, I get it. He's obviously we've seen him run down the quarterback against Cal, so he's big too, dude. I had forgot you were talking about looking at him. I forgot how big he is. Last week he had the big J.J. Watt arm, like elbow guard on, and
I know he was a lot bigger than I remember him being.
That joker
huge.
has bulked up some. So
yep.
we got our guy here, Joe. I'm going with the whole D line. I like it, man.
I like it, Joe.
6 sacks last week against a team that had only allowed 5 all year. So. I'm curious. I wish we had it. I should have looked it up before, but I wonder how many Syracuse is allowed all year. I know they're
what stat are you talking about?
Sacks, total sacks.
Total sacks. Let's go team right here. Hold on. I may be able to give you that.
Especially if they let that freshman play, man, you get pressure on the quarterback. We're going to see multiple turnovers.
Yeah. Yep. Sacks. Angeli was sacked 11 times before he was injured, and Ricky Collins was sacked 9. So has been sacked 9 in 4 games.
20 sacks.
Yep.
And the team we played last week had given up 5. So
yep.
Whole
I think this is a defense. This is a game, man. The defense can really show out. I really, really do. I'm looking for the offense to keep building, but the way the defense has played the last 2 weeks, I'm looking for this game. Like you talked about it. Turnovers. Who will get the turnovers? I think it could be a defensive game given the way the 2 offenses have looked. And I like our defense when it comes to that.
I will say though,
playing the last 2 weeks.
I hope so. We're going to need to start fast though. Do not give a young quarterback confidence at home on Halloween. I was looking earlier too, dude. You can get tickets to this game right now for as low as $4. Nice. There's tickets out there for $4. So that's wild to see. But let's
hop on a plane, Trev. Let's go.
I know, bro. I wish.
Trev, I'm gonna pass it to you and kind of let you have the stage real quick to yourself. I want to get your final thoughts. I know we've talked about a lot tonight on what we expect to see or what we want to see from Carolina. And guys, during this, if you want to drop in the chat what you think Carolina needs to do on both sides of the football or one or the other to come back home with a W on Halloween night, let us know in the comments. We'll be sure to throw it here on the stage so folks can see it, and we'll talk about it before we transition to our close. But Trev, I'm gonna pass it to you, bro. Tell us what your final thoughts are and what you're expecting overall during this game. I ain't gonna ask you for a score prediction.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna do that. I was gonna say I'm not gonna do that. But I mean, what I said earlier, man, I think this is a get right game for the offense. I look here against the run. Syracuse gives up around 4.8 yards per carry. I think we can run the ball, and I look at the total numbers that you put in here. total defense for Syracuse allows 436 yards per game. So this should be the game where we take advantage of Syracuse and we put on a performance and build off of what we've seen for a half last week, and finish strong. And I really think that just picking up from where you were at with the defense, we should see multiple turnovers if we can continue to pressure the quarterback like we have especially last week, but the past 2 weeks, I think we've done a much better job at it. Eliminate the explosive plays. And like I said just a second ago, don't allow the Syracuse offense to get comfortable early, get some momentum, because anytime you're on the road, you get the crowd involved, you get a young quarterback confident. You never know what will happen. But I do think this is a game we win. We should win. So I'm excited and looking forward to it, man. Halloween Heels, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in here with you, bro. My bad. I know I dropped off there for a second. Had
You
a quick look.
disappeared, bro. I was looking down. I was like, oh Lord, Troy got kidnapped.
Bro, I had my hotspot on speed dial. I'm quick with it now. Chris would be proud of me. But I'm back in here running off the phone. So, final thoughts for me, man. I'm looking for Carolina offensively. To, like I said, keep establishing a run game, get Davion and Benjamin Hall involved. Obviously, I think Gio has to continue to get better. You can see in his press conference that he had on Monday just where his confidence level is right now. I know he's been, scrutinized and some, and not really scrutinized, but I guess you could say criticized, and probably some of it rightfully so. I get it. This is a guy in the NIL era where we're giving him, a certain amount of money to come
and
in
those numbers come out and the fans know. So that adds to it.
Exactly. So, but I think with Carolina, I've said it before, I'll continue to say it. This is a team that we've seen that I think we'll continue to see just grow week to week, and that's where I'm at with it. So if I had to say final thoughts for the offense, continue to get the running game going. We're starting to see the playbook open up a little bit more and guys getting more and more involved in the passing game. Gio, I think, is doing a decent job at extending plays. I would like to see him continue in this game to use his legs a lot more, rolling outside of the pocket, letting guys work with him in space. I've got a video on my phone that my buddy Mike, he was here in the chat. He's probably tuned in right now. Mike, if you are, what up, homie? But he had a good video of Ship down there in the fourth quarter, man, made that sideline catch where he really got up and contorted his body a little bit, and Gio scrambled out of the play. And it was a little bit weird for me to see because he had to roll out all the way across the field and throw it almost all the way across the field to even complete the pass. So to have the mindset and the heads up play, I'm looking for him to kind of dip into that a little bit and continue that from the UVA.
That was a heck of a play. I know
it
which
was,
one you're
man.
talking about, because I think you sent the video
Yep.
to me. I believe that was a heck of a play.
Yep. Passing game wise, I'm looking to see who's going to be the guy this week. I think, like I told you, I think my offensive guy to watch for is Ship. I think Ship's got to have a good game this week and get more involved in the passing game. We've said it. What up, Mike? I'm here, brother. Yes, sir. Go Heels, baby. I'm looking to see who's going to be that guy that's going to take that next step and really, we've said it before, this wide receiver room. This wide receiver room is yet to really. We've seen a lot of guys. We've seen a lot of freshmen, a lot of young guys. We haven't seen one true guy. Is it going to be Kobe? Is it going to be Ship? We'll see who's going to be that guy this week. Defense, continue to do what you've done last 2 weeks. Tweak some things. You know what I mean? Don't get away from a relentless pursuit on the quarterback and getting in the backfield. You know what I mean? Put a relentless pressure. I like the way we've tackled. Do I think we need to do a better job at finishing plays? Yes. The Marcus Allen play, for example, against UVA. Will Hardy said it in his interview on Monday. When you're tired, when you're fatigued, you've got to, you still got to lock in. And I think on that Marcus Allen play where he gave up that touchdown where he didn't finish the tackle and the guy ran the sidelines and scored, you got to make those plays. You got to finish it. So I'm looking for them to continue what they've been doing, and just do a little bit better job at fine tuning and don't get away from what's worked. You know what I mean? 2 weeks in a row, Steve Belichick's had that defense ready to go, and I'm looking for him to continue to build off these last two performances, especially against the Syracuse offense that's struggling right now.
I agree with everything you said. Hey, before we close, I want to say, hey, we're setting at 7. I believe we're setting at $7.99 on YouTube the last time I looked. So I know there's, of the 222 people that are watching us live right now, one of y'all aren't subscribed yet. So please show us some love and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 before the end of the year. So if we can go ahead and get to 800 tonight, that'll be a breath of fresh air. So please subscribe. And don't forget, I want to mention this real quick. Our team over at Shrunken Head and Tailgate, 15% off if you use code TARPITPOD online or in store. I went online the other day just to you talk about a moment when we had Caleb's song. You were in the garage, and I was like, I wonder if it actually works online. And I went online and I ordered a shirt, and I was like, oh, 15% off. It actually works. It's real. Yep. So that was like a surreal moment. So make sure to use, and they've got everything. So obviously we don't have a game up there. Oh, there we go, Connor. Hopefully you got us to 800, buddy. Appreciate you.
Let's go, Connor.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, big dog. Yeah.
That's all I got, bro.
Definitely take advantage of the code Tar Pit Pod at Shrunken Head and Tailgate by Shrunken Head online in both stores, online or in store, in person. I enjoy that partnership with those guys, man. It's one thing to be sponsored. It's another thing to be sponsored by a local Chapel Hill business, family owned since like the 50s.
That's right? Legit, big time.
A staple of the Carolina community. So super happy for our folks at Shrunken Head. And guys, we're going to be live from 140 Social next Saturday from 12 to 3. We're working on a guest list. We're working on, having
big
a
time guests we're reaching out to. Some big ones.
Time.
So
yes, sir.
Put it on your calendar already.
Yeah. So we're going to be live from 140 Social next Saturday for the Stanford game, 12 to 3. Be sure to come check us out. They open up pretty early. It's a rock and play. I'm excited to see the atmosphere at 140 for another game day. We weren't there for the Clemson game, but they said that it was packed. It was an atmosphere like no other.
I can't wait either. And how much better would it be to see it after coming off a win?
I know. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. So stay tuned for that, guys. Obviously, we'll be going live from 140 Social 12 to 3 next Saturday. I said it before. I'll say it again. We appreciate you guys tuning in tonight, wherever you catch us from, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Be sure to give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, share it with your Carolina friends. We appreciate the support. And guys, we're going to send it off the only way we know how. Until next time, go Heels.
Go Heels.
Hey Tar Pit crew, thanks for hanging with us today. Quick shout out. Today's episode is powered by Untapped Sports Network. Big thanks to them for the support. If you like this episode, do us a favor. Like it, drop a comment, and share it with a friend. That kind of support goes a long way in keeping the podcast rolling. Make sure you're subscribed and following the Tar Pit Podcast on whatever platform you're listening on right now. And don't forget to follow us on social. We're on X, formerly Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search the Tar Pit Podcast and you'll find us. Until next time, go Heels.